Yo, what's good, everybody? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time is definitely a good one, definitely one of my favorites. I've been waiting to tell this one for a very long time. I've been holding on to it because it's one of those stories where I hold it dear to my heart. It really just reminds me of when I was a kid and I was stupid. And I know a lot of those stories probably, give you that feeling, but this one just really embodies everything, and it's just got a lot of stories in one as well. It's one of those stories where it's not just one topic, it's a lot of stuff going on, and I think you guys will like it because you seem to like videos like this one. So I hope you enjoy it. Leave a like on the video if you do, and let's get into it. So today's story time all starts off back when I was 17 years old. Now, around this time, I was actually, I don't want to use the word reformed, because I wasn't some crazy psychopath troublemaker kid before I was, 17. But around 17 is when I started to kind of chill out a bit. And I wasn't getting in a lot of trouble. And I was kind of just chilling out. Because one, my YouTube was popping off and I was very focused on that. And taking it very seriously. And then two, I was just getting older and, I was almost 18. So I was trying to act a little bit more adult-like. But, nobody's perfect and everybody makes mistakes, and your boy made a mistake. So yeah, like I said, this starts off when I was 17. I was in my room. At this point, I was living in my basement at my mom's house. I had a bedroom upstairs that I could actually sleep in, but I was mainly in the office room in the basement, just working on videos all day and gaming and streaming, and then I just fall asleep down there usually. So at this point, I was pretty much living in the basement. And because I was living down there, I was kind of trashing it. I was 17. I didn't really give a shit about, being organized and cleaning my room and stuff. So yeah, around this time, the room was very trashed. The office room that I had my setup in was pretty trashed. There was clothes all over the floor and fast food cups everywhere. It looked like that fucking Asmongold photo. Maybe not that bad. I didn't have dead animals or anything, in my room, but it was pretty bad. And I hear footsteps come down the stairs. And my mom swings the door open and she's like, "What the fuck is wrong with this room? You need to clean it now." And I was like, "I'll clean it soon. I'm doing something right now." But I was full of shit. I wasn't doing anything. I had already done my video for the day. I had nothing to do. I was just being lazy. And she knew that. She knew I was full of shit and she called me out on it. She's like, "You are full of shit. You do not have to do anything right now. Get up, clean the room. I'm not letting you trash this room. Clean it." And I was like, "Okay, I will. Just give me a minute." She goes, "No, you don't have a minute. Start cleaning now." And I got mad. I was like, "No, I'm not doing it right now. You gotta wait." And it turned into a whole argument because I didn't want to clean my room because I was a lazy fucking teenager that just wanted to live in filth, essentially. And we got into a huge argument about it, right? It got to the point where we were yelling at each other and I got pissed off and I grabbed some shit and I stormed out of the house. I grabbed my backpack and my laptop and I was like, "Fuck this. I'm out of here." Now, around this time, I was making enough money on YouTube where if I wanted to go rent a hotel or an Airbnb for the night, I could, but there was a problem with that. Your boy wasn't 18, so because I wasn't an adult, I couldn't do that stuff yet. I could afford it, but I couldn't rent stuff yet, you know what I mean? So I was in a little bit of a dilemma. After I stormed out of my house, I had nowhere to stay that night. I had the money to afford a stay, but I just didn't have the ability to put my name on anything because I wasn't an adult. So I started calling friends of mine. I called my homie Alex up first, who was 18, and I was like, "Yo, will you rent a hotel with me?" He's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, can you rent a room and I'll pay for it? I just need your name." He's like, "Bro, nah, I'm not letting you fucking put a hotel in my name. Who knows what you're gonna do in there?" I'm like, "What the fuck does that mean, bro? I'm not gonna trash it." And then he's like, "Well, maybe you won't trash it, but who knows what else you'll do in there." I was like, "What the fuck does that mean, dude?" I don't know what the fuck he thought I was gonna do in this hotel room. This dude thought I was Diddy or something. I wasn't trying to throw some freak off party and trash the room. I was literally just trying to sleep somewhere for the night. And I told him that. I'm like, "Bro, I don't know what you think I'm gonna do in this room. I'm just trying to sleep somewhere for the night." He's like, "I don't care, bro. Call someone else." And he hangs up on me. So, fuck him. And not fuck him. I mean, I don't blame him for not wanting to put his name on something, but still, come on, bro. Anyway, I called somebody else. We'll just call this friend Joel, okay? Joel, he was older than me by 2 years. So he was 19, and he was much more understanding of the situation. He understood that, I didn't want to go back home, and that, I would pay for it, and, he just had to put his name on the hotel or the Airbnb, and he was down for it. He's like, "Yeah, man, if you find a hotel or an Airbnb, just let me know, and, I'll call them and I'll set it up, and, you pay for it." And I was like, "Cool, appreciate it, man." Now, before I continue, this just really shows how petty I was back then. Like, I really could have just went home and like cleaned my room and not had to do any of this. But I was just being so petty about cleaning my room and being fucking gross that I was willing to rent an Airbnb and spend potentially, $200 or more on an Airbnb or like a hotel because I didn't want to go home and clean my room. And I wanted to win this argument with my mom, essentially, which is like so dumb. But yeah, I ended up calling some places. I called a hotel, and all these hotels were 21 plus that I was calling, so my friend couldn't even rent those. And then I found this Airbnb. I found it on the app. It was like a little over 200, and it looked pretty nice, and I could rent it for a night. So yeah, I gave my friend the money on PayPal, and he hit the Airbnb host up and booked it. So I had a place to stay that night. That was good. But I was still going to be pretty bored all night with nothing to do. So I call up that same friend again, and I'm like, yo, bro, what are you doing right now? He's like, working, dude, I told you. I'm like, can I come see you at work? He's like, bro, the mall's closed. And I was like, can you let me in? He's like, all right. Like, that was all it took, bro. So I popped my shoes on and I went to the mall. Now, upon getting there, I go to the door, the main entrance, it's locked. I call up my homie. I'm like, yo, man, I'm outside. He's like, all right, come around to the back. So I had to walk around to like the back of the mall, and my homie opened up like one of these like exit doors that like the stores used, and he lets me into the store he works at from the back. Now, I'm not going to say what store he worked at because he still works there. He like worked his way up the chain, and now he's like a manager or like owner or some shit. He makes pretty good money, so I'm not going to get him in trouble. But yeah, he let me into the store. It's like past 10 o'clock at night. The whole mall is closed. Like all the lights are off except a few. And the store that we're in has like their gate down, and all the other stores have their gate down. And like, I don't know, something about it. It felt cool, right? Well, it doesn't end there. So shortly after he lets me into his store, he's one of like the only people working there. It was him and these two other girls. And it was a very big store. And I believe one of the girls there was a manager, but she was like one of the chillest managers ever. So she did not care that I was there, and like they were talking to me. And like 10 or 15 minutes into me being there, they start passing around a bowl in the store. They're like smoking weed, like getting ripped in the store, in the mall after hours while they're like working. And I was like, what the fuck is happening right now? Like, this feels like a dream. And my friend's like laughing at me, and so are these girls. And my friend passes the bowl to me. Now, around this time, I didn't smoke, but I was like, you know what? I'm in the mall. It's closed. We're hotboxing a store. Like, I'm going to take a hit. So I did. I took one hit. Didn't feel it immediately, but shortly after, it kind of creeped up on me. And I was like, okay, like, I don't really have a tolerance, so I'm a little high right now. But it was mostly like good vibes, we're hanging out. We were listening to music after that, just hanging out for like 30, 40 minutes. And I'm helping my friend around the store, even though I don't even work there. I'm just like helping him do shit. Like, he had me take the garbage out to the front at one point, and like, I'm just hanging out with everybody, right? Because I had nothing to do. Well, like 20 or 30 minutes later, it's to the point where my friend's almost done. Like, he's able to leave soon. And before he, is going to leave, he's like, yo, you want to go walk around the mall, like after hours? And I was like, are we allowed to do that? He's like, yeah, man, if you work here, security doesn't care. They don't even patrol after the mall closes usually. They just sit in their office by the food court, and we're nowhere near the food court. Like, we're good. So, when he told me this, I thought we were golden. I thought there was no chance we could get in trouble. It sounded like he had done this before. So I said, yeah, man, let's do it. So he lifts the gate up to the store, and we venture out in the main area of the mall, and we start exploring. And it was really cool. The lights were mostly off. Like I said, it was real creepy and dim and just like, real eerie looking. And then we walked by the Zoomies. I'm sure you all know what a Zoomies is. It's a skate shop. It's in malls. And we passed by, and there's a dude working there. I don't know why he was still there at this hour. I'm not sure if he was even working. Maybe he just forgot something there and had to like grab it. And my friend's like, oh, that's the manager. He's really cool. Let's say what up to him. So we walk over there, and he's like, yo. And the manager's like, oh, what's up, dude? And like, he walked over to the gate, lifted the gate up, and he lets us in the store. And we're just talking to him, like chatting with this dude. And next thing I know, this dude pulls out a pipe as well. I'm like, bro, does everyone just come to the mall after hours and smoke weed? Like, what is going on? And he offers me a hit. This time I said no, just because like I was, still kind of feeling the first one. But my friend took one. And I was just like, yo, is this what y'all do? Like, y'all just pull up here and like smoke weed and hang out and like chill after hours until your jobs are done? And they're like, yeah, pretty much. And then the Zoomies manager is like, yeah, sometimes I skate in here. And I was like, wait, you skate? Like, what do you mean, like in the mall? He's like, yeah, check this out. And he walks behind the counter, grabs a board, takes it outside of the store, like into the mall, like walkway or whatever area, and he's skateboarding. And he's like trying to grind the benches and shit in the mall. And I'm just standing there like, yo, I need to get a job at the mall. This looks fun as fuck. Well, not even like 5 or 10 seconds later, I hear from behind us, hey, what do you think you're doing? And I turn around and I already knew what it was going to be. I already knew. Before I even saw the guy, I knew it. It was Paul fucking Blart. Well, not actually Paul Blart, but a mall security guard who looked very, very angry and very, very serious. And he was like, do you really think you should be skating? Huh? Is this where you skate? Does it look like a skate park? And after that, he walks up to us and he starts asking us, like, why are we there? The mall's closed. And my one buddy, he's like, oh, well, I work at this store. And then the guy from Zoomies is like, yeah, I'm from Zoomies. Like, we're good. And then the security guard looks at me and he goes, what are you doing here? Do you work here? And I just lied. I was like, yeah, I work at this store with him. And I pointed at my friend. And he goes, you look new. Are you new? And I was like, yeah, I started today. He goes, what's your name? Now, I didn't really feel like giving this guy my actual name just because I thought, maybe he'll like write it down or something and like ban me from the mall or some shit. I didn't trust him. And obviously I shouldn't have lied to the guy either. And I shouldn't have lied to him about this, but I did. I can't take it back. I lied about my name. And the fake name I gave him, I can't believe to this day he fell for it. I looked this security guard dead in the face and I said with full confidence, my name is Quavius Marshall. I thought it would just be funny, like as a joke, to say like a famous rapper's real name. And I really thought this guy was not going to fall for it and just be like, oh, what's your real name? But after I said it, he goes, how do you spell that? And my friend, I look to my right and he's like trying not to die laughing because he knows like whose name that is. And I have to spell it out for this dude. And I don't even know if I spelled it correctly. And yeah, he wrote it down. He wrote it down probably because he wanted to like go check with the store the next day and see if I actually worked there. But he wrote it down and then he looks back up at us after writing it down and he goes, what's that smell? You guys smoking pot in here or something? It smells like weed. And we all just kind of look at each other and then like nod our heads no. And then the security guard's like, all right, well, I'm going to go back to my office. I'm looking at the cameras and if I see you guys skateboard or loiter out here any longer, I'll be filing a complaint with all of your jobs. So yeah. And we're like, all right, man. And the dude just walks away after that, right? Now, the minute the security guard turns the corner, like literally the second he's out of sight, bro, the motherfucker from Zoomies immediately runs, like full speed, caveman's onto his board, and then ollies over some toy that was out front of like one of the stores, I'm assuming for marketing or something, ollies over it. And after he does that, we hear, hey, we turn around and Paul Blart's coming right back towards us full speed. He's running. The security guard is gunning for us and we all run. We just split off into 3 different directions and run. And I remember running full speed, not turning around and thinking, please, please, when I turn around, let this security guard be chasing anybody but me. And I turn around and thank fuck he wasn't chasing me. He was chasing the Zoomies dude. Probably because homeboy literally ollied a toy or something right after the guy told him not to skate. Now, I ran like to the other end of the mall and I just sat there for a while because I had to go back the way I came to get to that store that my homie works at. But like I didn't want to cross paths with the security guard. So I like waited for a while and I texted my friend like, being like, yo, let me know when, the coast is clear so I can run through there. And after like probably 10, 15 minutes, I was able to go back and get to the store and the guy was gone and my homie let me back into his store and I was like, yo, like, where'd you hide at? He's like, bro, I ran to the back hallways and I like used the back door of my work to get in here. I've been in here the whole time. I was like, shit, man, I should have done the same. But we were both back in the store and we were both okay. Now, I really thought that like, that'd be the end of the story. I thought right then and there, I remember in my head thinking like, yo, this is going to be a good story on YouTube. Little did I know it wasn't over yet. So after we got back to my friend's store where he was working, it was time for us to leave. It was time for us to go to my Airbnb, or our Airbnb, I guess, because I paid for it and he rented it, and chill, right? Like just kick it there, maybe have a couple friends pull up, have a good night, right? Well, we get in the car. We said goodbye to the 2 other girls that were working that night because they were leaving at the same time as us, and we start driving to the Airbnb. Now, upon pulling up, the outside of the house looked really nice, really beautiful on the outside. I was stoked to get in there and see it and, like unpack some of my shit and just chill. And I walk up to the front door and I can hear the waves crashing because this house was right on the lake where I lived. So I could hear like the backyard beach area with like the waves crashing. and I type in the code on the front door. The door unlocks. I open it, and it's pitch black in there, by the way, right? So I can't see shit. And I step into the house, and upon stepping in the house, I feel my foot get really cold and really wet really fast, and I hear like a squishing sound. And I can feel my foot like ankle deep in water. And I turn around, and I look at my friend, and I was like, what the fuck? And he goes, is there like a puddle or something by the front door? And I was like, dude, either this house is flooded right now, or this is the deepest puddle I've ever stepped in. And immediately I pull open my phone and I turn the flashlight on, and I shit you not, the whole fucking first floor of this house is flooded. Like, completely flooded. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I guess there was a storm surge or something like that night or the night before, and the tide like raised, like where the lake was behind it, and it flooded the house. So immediately my friend calls the Airbnb host, and he's like, hey man, your house is flooded. And the guy's like, what? And my friend's like, yeah, the house is flooded. Some of the furniture is literally floating. We can't stay here. And then the Airbnb owner pulled up like 5 minutes later because he lived down the street and like saw it for himself, and he couldn't believe it. Luckily he had like insurance and stuff, so he was going to be fine, but he was nice. He refunded us, so we didn't have to pay for it or stay there. Could you imagine if he was like, nah, sleep in it? But nah, after that, man, we just like gave up. I was like, you know what, man, let's just go to my fucking mom's house. Like, I'm just going to clean my room and like just sleep there. Because at this point, it ain't worth it. So I did. We went back to my mom's house. My mom was actually sleeping, so she didn't even hear us come in. And we just slept there that night. And the next morning, I had to explain to my mom the hell that I went through. So yeah, it was just crazy. But all in all, one of the most like chaotic nights of my life. Like from hanging out in the mall to smoking weed in there and then getting chased by a security guard and then going to an Airbnb where it's flooded. Like it was just like a completely chaotic night, and I would have never expected any of it. But yeah, man, I don't really know what the moral of this story is. I guess it's just like, you know, don't be like young me. But definitely a good story time, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I know I love telling this one, so if you enjoyed it, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below, and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace.
I was stepping out at 4 a.m. cause I couldn't take every thought up in my head and all the words from you snakes. Said I'm coming back for everything on my brother's grave. Keep on sending auto shots while I aim for the brain. Yeah, tell them what's up, now it's no debate. They were sleeping on me, now I got